Who won the Reload Elite Series? Which duos qualified for the Esports World Cup LAN? And why was the tournament controversial to say the least? All of that and more in today's EU review. First things first, let's just get it out of the way now. The cube rifle was insanely broken during this tournament. It completely changed the way it played out. There's no way to counter it. It's so broken. And I mean, honestly, pause the editing. I'm going to go to the side of the screen for a second. Just watch the footage from Game 8 because this is genuinely ridiculous. You are watching pure unmitigated chaos. I do honestly believe that this may be one of the least competitive Fortnite matches I've ever watched in many years of watching this game. This item is just something else completely. In this very game, we had Reason and Noah drop a 20 bomb just from spamming the cube rifle. It's incredible how broken it is. I cannot believe Epic allowed it to stay in the loot pool for this long. The splash damage effect, the knockback effect, is so difficult to counter, and as you can see from watching the footage on screen, it did disrupt the tournament a little bit. So going forward, when I discuss player placements, just bear in mind that the cube rifle had a huge impact. Now, if you've forgotten the format of the Reload Elite Series, it is the top 3 duos that qualify for the EWC LAN in August, and in first place we had Darm and Demuś. Now, these guys put in a very consistent performance. They got 2 victory royales, only 1 game outside of the top 10. They were honestly solid throughout the entire cup. They also got first in the play-ins round, first in their heats, now first in finals. It's fair to say that they figured something out in Reload. Honestly, I'm not shocked at all that they're doing well in this game mode because we know how strong they are at fighting. They have incredible firepower. I mean, take a look at the stats from this tournament. Darm had the joint most eliminations with 20, Demuś had 18 as well, putting up very good numbers. Let's take a look at one of their successful matches. This is their game 1 win. They land separate from each other. Darm lands down on this rig whilst Demuś lands up on the mountain, and this actually works for them throughout the tournament. They actually have a very quiet mid-game, save for an attempted lurk on Charyy with the cube rifle. They stay out of people's way, they don't overcommit, they just focus on getting to the end game. You can see them in this building refarming the metal. All they are focused on is getting to the end of the game because that is where the placement points are. I wish there was some crazy piece of analysis I could give you for this game, but it ends up being pretty routine. In zone 7 they wipe Charyy and Finchick with the help of the cube rifle, and that gives them a massive refresh. They can then full tarp in metal. The zone actually pulls back on them, which is some nice luck as well. They then get a second refresh onto Thomas HD, which makes them even more stacked. From here, it's just a case of playing out their materials on the mid ground, dropping low when necessary. Very simple for a duo of their caliber. They then secure the victory royale by taking height and then chopping it. A very unconventional way to win, but fair play to them, it did work out, and throughout this whole tournament they were by far the best team. Now, in second place, also qualifying for the EWC LAN, we had another Polish duo, which was of course Charyy and Charyy. Now listen, these guys had a really good tournament. They started out okay, but it was in the second half where they really turned things on. They managed 2 wins and a second in those final 4 games, really finishing the tournament in style. It's fair to say that they got some use out of the cube rifle. They managed a 14 kill win with it. Charyy did admit over on Twitter that it was one of the main reasons that helped them qualify, but listen, even without that, they did put in a great performance. Take a look at Chary's stats. He had the joint most eliminations, the best damage ratio too, proving why he is one of the most underrated pros on the entire region. And listen, it's nice to see Charyy and Charyy putting in a performance. For a few months now, they've not been bad by any means, but they've also not been challenging for those first places, for those high placements, and it's nice to see them back where they belong. Also, kind of a side note, but this top 2 does prove that it is worth organisations investing money into Fortnite. We had T1 pick up Darm and Demuś, whilst ROC picked up Charyy and Charyy, and this was purely so that they could be represented at the Esports World Cup, and it's paid off, clearly proving that there is still value in spending money in Fortnite. And in third place, we had another duo that have struggled a bit lately, but have turned it on over the past week or 2, and that is of course SwizzY and Pixie. Now firstly, I called this in my video a few days ago. They are fully back. Their performances have taken such a huge upturn. They of course came first in the Reload Elite Series Opens, first on day 1 of the play-in. They also came first in the Divisional Cup Opens. Yes, their performances over the past few months haven't quite matched the high standards that we would expect from them, but I feel like this was a huge step in the right direction. They really are making a comeback, and coming third in this lobby is highly impressive. With under 2 weeks until the Summit LAN, have they peaked at just the right time? It does remain to be seen, but I am feeling very good about this duo. And by the way, these were my pre-tournament predictions, and I feel like I was kind of cooking, getting 2 out of the 3 LAN qualifiers right. I'm pretty happy with that. Now, the duos in 4th and 5th place did not miss out on the EWC qualification because they have already made it. They are of course Chino and Pablo Wingu, and Sky and Scroll. Now listen, they'll be a bit frustrated to miss the win at various points in the tournament. It did look like they were challenging for the first place. The last few games just did not go well for them. Sky and Scroll 19th in game 6, 19th in game 8. A very unfortunate end to the cup. We also had Chino and Pablo Wingu go down in 14th place in that final game at the hands of the Cube Rifle. So listen, both of these teams already qualified. It's not the end of the world, but I'm sure they would have liked to challenge for that first place position. And now we can take a look down the leaderboard and see which teams missed out. Podesite and Sato finished in 6th place. For most of the tournament, they were genuinely in the hunt for those LAN places, but it all fell apart in game 8. They were really struggling off spawn. They kept going down, and then later on, disaster struck. They got completely wiped out by the Cube Rifle at the hands of Reason and Noah Rayleigh. Very unfortunate stuff, and it did cost them their qualification. It does remain to be seen as to whether a French team can qualify for this LAN, because there is a chance that it could be hosted in Paris instead of Saudi Arabia, and it would be nice to see some home players represented. In 7th place, we had Reason and Noah. To be honest with you, their final game where they dropped a 20 bomb completely inflated this placement, because they weren't really in and around it throughout the whole tournament. They weren't challenging too much, but fair play to them. They clearly grasped the meta. They knew what to do with the Cube Rifle, and they made it work to their advantage. In 8th place, we had Charyy and Firen. I feel like in the Reload Elite series, there's always one underrated duo that starts the tournament really well and then starts getting fought midway and ultimately misses out. We had that happen to Twek and Mydro in Qualifier 1, and Charyy and Firen had the exact same thing. After 3 excellent games, they were sat in 1st place. They then died in 2 consecutive games off spawn. They were actually contested by Clapsy and Kjeld for the entire tournament. So honestly, it's pretty impressive that they even got close to qualifying whilst in this kind of a situation. It's never easy to maintain consistency when you're contested. They actually did really well with the games they made it off spawn. They made the most of it. Fair play to them, and I do think an 8th is a very solid placement. In 9th, we had Skyjump and Mumsy, another French duo, putting in a respectable performance. And then in 10th, we had Thomas HD and Focus. And listen, these guys really struggled in the first 3 games, but they did bring it back a little bit. They started keying more aggressively. They started taking height a lot more, but ultimately it was not enough to get over the line. They were both very vocal about their dislike for the Cube Rifle, which is honestly fair enough. And at this point, we can pull up the rest of the leaderboard. As you can see, Akira and Karama didn't make it through. Neither did Seti and Kombek or Kira and Vostroki. So definitely some big names that did struggle. It's fair to say that the Cube Rifle definitely did not create a fun tournament environment for these players. From a viewer perspective, it was certainly a spectacle watching the item in action. Yes, it's incredibly uncompetitive. Yes, I never want to see it in a loot pool ever again, but you have to say it was pretty unique to watch. Hopefully for the final qualifier next month, they do tidy up the meta a little bit, remove the Cube Rifle, sort a couple of other bits out, and I genuinely believe Reload could be good again, just like it was with Slurp Rush. I also think the Elite Stronghold map is quite underrated. I know people aren't a fan of it, maybe because it's quite realistic looking, maybe because of the style, but I genuinely do quite like it, and I think that the competitive player base will come to appreciate it. Also, in case you missed it, it's been confirmed that the Pro-Am will be happening this summer. Glad it's not been forgotten. Very excited for that tournament. Subscribe to stay up to date with European Fortnite news. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one.